In this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through the entire process of self-publishing a children's picture book on Amazon. And this isn't just a quick 5-minute how-to or a quick overview. This is going to be an in-depth guide that covers everything from writing your manuscript to illustrating your book, formatting and designing the book, uploading it to Amazon KDP, and finally marketing it so that it sells. Hi, welcome to Self-Publishing Central. If you are new here, my name is Caroline, and every single week I share real strategies, case studies, and behind the scenes tips so that you can build a thriving self-publishing business. Children's picture books are one of the most popular niches on Amazon. They're also one of the most rewarding. Children's picture books are something that families read again and again. It can become a part of their bedtime routine, a memory from childhood, sometimes even a keepsake. But with that opportunity also comes challenge, because you're not just competing with other self-publishers here. You're competing with some of the biggest names in traditional publishing. There is good news though, and that is that self-publishers have more tools and opportunities today than ever before to create books that can stand alongside those big names. I'll even show you some of those self-published examples doing as good as, if not better than, traditionally published books a little bit later in this video. So if you've ever dreamed of seeing your own story in print with illustrations that bring characters to life and actually make sales on Amazon, then this is the video that you need to watch right through to the end. By the end, you'll have a clear roadmap of exactly what to do at each stage. So first things first, understanding the market for children's picture books. Before you jump in and start writing anything, it's important to understand the market that you're entering into. Children's picture books are not like low content journals, coloring books, or puzzle books. They're a unique category with very specific expectations from parents, teachers, and even the kids themselves. So number one, who's buying these books? We've got parents and grandparents. They want books that entertain, but also books that teach lessons, spark imagination, or reinforce values. Then we've got teachers. Many picture books end up in classrooms, especially those with educational themes or diverse representation. Next, we've got gift buyers, birthdays, holidays, baby showers. Picture books make perfect gifts, which means that sales of these kinds of books often spike at certain times of the year. Number two, what age group are you writing for? Now, most picture books target ages 3 to 8, and that's a big range, and it makes a huge difference around how you write. For the younger kids, stories need to be very simple, often under 500 words with lots of repetition and rhythm. For the older kids, you can stretch it a bit closer to 1,000 words with more complex vocabulary and storylines. After the age of 8, children are generally moving on to chapter books, which have a lot more content, a lot more text, and a lot less illustrations. And number 3, what subgenres are within children's picture books? There are various types of stories that you can write depending on the kinds of books you want to create. So you've got bedtime stories, which have gentle, soothing narratives, which are designed to help kids wind down. Dinosaur, Say Goodnight is a great example of this. Really lighthearted, rhyming stories to help send a kid off to sleep. Then we've got humorous books, silly, playful stories that kids laugh at and want to read again and again. The Wonky Donkey is a fantastic example of a funny story. This is a hugely popular book. If you don't know what it's about, it's a donkey with smelly breath who farts, who has one eye, and kids just love it. Then we've got imaginative fantasy stories with talking animals, magic creatures, whimsical adventures. Uh-oh, my dragon is hungry fits this genre perfectly, where the main character is a dragon. Also, this picture book is self-published and is in the top 1,000 of all books on Amazon. Then we've got value-based stories that teach kindness, courage, sharing, perseverance, or some other moral or life lesson. These books are very, very popular, like this one, The Girl Who Makes a Million Mistakes, which is a story to help boost self-esteem and confidence. And this one, Our Class is a Family, which is all about inclusion and community. Now, both of these books, The Girl Who Makes a Million Mistakes and Our Class is a Family, both of these books are self-published and both of them are also in the top 1,000 of all books on Amazon. And lastly, we've got educational books that sneak in learning. Things like numbers, letters, history, science in a fun, colorful way. Something like this Dr. Seuss book, There's No Place Like Space, is exactly how a children's picture book can also be educational. Now, what about competition on Amazon? Yes, it is tough. If you search Amazon for children's picture book, you'll see names like Eric Carle, Mo Williams, or other modern bestsellers from Scholastic and Disney. But the thing is, competition does not mean that it's impossible. It just means you need to know your own unique angle. Traditional publishers often focus on mass market appeal, but as a self-publisher, you can really niche down and get specific. You can create books for very specific audiences that big publishers often overlook. Examples are bilingual books, stories about certain professions, or books set in specific cultures or environments. Let's take a quick look at some examples of self-published children's books that are really standing out amongst the traditionally published ones. I'm only going to show you a couple, but if you take the time to go through and browse Amazon yourself, you will see how many self-published books are out there that are consistently selling. Just going back to The Girl Who Makes a Million Mistakes, as I mentioned earlier, it is a self-published book. It has a bestseller rank under 500, currently 442. This book makes around the $17,000 per month mark after I popped that bestseller rank into the Kindlepreneur book sales calculator. This self-publisher used a lot of the marketing tactics I'll talk about later in this video to get the book to this point. The next example we've got is The Trouble with Children, According to Dog. This is self-published by Katie Weaver and was published around about a year ago, and it has built up to being one of the best-selling children's picture books on Amazon, currently with a bestseller rank of 643. So that means that this book is selling approximately 90 to 100 copies every single day. And the last example that I want to share from a self-published author is I Am Stronger Than Anger, which is part of a 10-book series all about helping kids with emotions, created by a self-publisher. This specific book has a bestseller rank of 5,025 out of all books on Amazon. If you are wondering why I keep talking about bestseller ranks, that's because it's a number that helps tell us whether a book is popular with Amazon's customers or not. So the lower that number, the more books that are selling. So with that bestseller rank, this book sells around 650 copies in a month, and that means the royalties add up to approximately $2,700 per month from one book out of a 10-book series. All these examples are self-published, so I'm really hoping this inspires and motivates you to self-publish your own children's picture book, even with all the traditionally published ones out there. So before you spend any time writing a single word, get onto Amazon and spend time browsing. Look at the bestsellers in different categories and notice things like how long the books are, what type of illustrations are they using, what is the story about, what is it teaching, if anything, what type of titles are they using that grab your attention, and ask yourself, where is there a gap? What story isn't being told? What audience isn't being served? And that's where your opportunity lies. So step 1, writing your picture book. Now let's dive straight in to the first step, writing your manuscript. Children's picture books are deceptively simple. You might look at a 500-word story and think, that's so easy, anybody could do that. But actually, writing for children is one of the hardest forms of writing because every single word has to count. So how long should your story be? For ages 3 to 5, aim for around 300 to 500 words. For ages 5 to 8, you can go up to 800 to 1,000 words. The research that you did earlier while browsing on Amazon, looking at all the other children's picture books, will also help you with this. When you are going through books and having a look at them, take note of what age they are targeting and then how many pages are in the books. The younger the child, the shorter the attention span, so the shorter the story. Remember, picture books are meant to be read aloud in one sitting. Parents do not want a 20-minute epic at bedtime. They want a story that flows, entertains, and wraps all up in about 10 minutes. So what makes a great picture book story? Simply a clear beginning, middle, and end. Even within a 500-word story, you need that satisfying arc. You need relatable characters. Kids connect with talking animals, whimsical creatures, or characters who face challenges that they understand, like sharing toys or being brave or trying something new. You need repetition and rhythm. Kids love patterns. Repeated phrases or structures invite participation and make the story stick. In The Wonky Donkey, for example, the story actually repeats itself on every page with a new sentence added each time. So by the end of the book, the child can pretty much recite the whole story. And you need emotional hooks, whether that's laughter, wonder, comfort. The story should spark some sort of emotion. Just a couple more quick examples. Think about The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Simple text, repetitive structure, a character kids can follow, and a satisfying transformation at the end. Or Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus by Mo Willems. It's silly, it's repetitive, and it's interactive. What about story ideas? How do you come up with really great story ideas? Well, there isn't really a solid answer to this one because ideas come in so many ways and it's going to be different for every person. Sometimes an idea will just pop into your head. Sometimes you will hear somebody talk about something and you might think that would make a great story, or kids will find that funny. But sometimes you just have absolutely no idea what to write a story about. If you do need help with this part of the process, you can always enlist ChatGPT or some other AI tool to assist you with this. AI is a great tool to help you come up with story ideas suitable for kids. Remember though, AI is a tool to assist with some parts of the process of creating your book. It is not there to replace you, and you shouldn't rely on it to do everything for you. The magic of any book is your own unique spin and personality that you put into it. If you do want to use ChatGPT for story ideas, I do have a children's picture book ideas super prompt that I'm happy to share with you for free. I'll pop a link down in the description box below if you want to go and download that prompt to get you started with generating story ideas for your own book. Here are some tips for writing your manuscript. Write it out, then read it out aloud. If it doesn't flow smoothly when spoken, rewrite it. Keep sentences short and clear. Avoid heavy description. Let the illustrations do that work. Consider hiring a children's book editor or at least getting feedback from teachers or parents. And here's a pro tip. Don't overthink the message. Yes, your book can teach a lesson, but first and foremost, it should be fun to read. Kids don't want a lecture, they want a story. Now, the next step, step 2, is planning the illustrations. When it comes to children's picture book, the story is important, yes, but the illustrations are what makes it come alive. You can write the most fun, clever, funny manuscript in the world, but if the illustrations don't connect with the kids, then the book just won't do great. Children are visual, they're drawn to bright colors, expressive characters and images that help them follow along the story before they can even read. But just because I say that illustrations are super important doesn't mean that they have to be the most professional, artistic, intricate illustrations that you can possibly have. Let's break down exactly what you need to know about illustrations. Choosing an illustration style. Every picture book has its own look. Some are whimsical and cartoonish, others are very detailed and realistic. Some are minimal, some are bursting with color. The key is to just pick a style that matches your story. Finding a way to illustrate your book. If you're not an illustrator yourself, you may want to hire one. You can find illustrators on places like Upwork, Fiverr, Reedsy, or through dedicated illustration agencies. You can also browse Instagram. You can find artists that way. Many artists post their portfolios there. If this is the route that you want to take, when hiring, make sure you look at their past children's picture book experience, consistency of style. So can they keep the book's characters looking the same from page to page, and their ability to tell a story visually, not just make pretty pictures. If you do not have a budget for an illustrator, as most of us don't, then you can illustrate the book yourself using pre-made illustrations. I did this with my own children's picture book, The Duck That Lost Its Quack. There are websites like Creative Market and plenty of others if you just search Google, where you can purchase illustrations with commercial usage rights, and then you can use these illustrations to create the pages of your book. It is a lot cheaper to do it this way than purchasing custom illustrations. It's also a lot faster process because you still get something highly professional. And of course, you can illustrate it yourself. And this doesn't mean that you have to be some world-class artist or illustrator. The Day the Crayons Quit is one of the most popular children's picture books out there currently. There is a whole series of these crayon picture books, and the illustrations look like they were drawn by a child. Probably why kids love it so much. So don't think your illustrations need to be like artwork to create a successful book. Next up is step 3, format and layout. Now that you have your story text and illustrations, it's time to bring them all together into an actual book. This is where formatting comes in. Choosing a trim size. So the most popular trim size or book sizes for children's picture books are 8.5 inch by 8.5 inch, which is square format, very common. Most children's picture books are this shape, and sometimes 8.5 by 11, which is slightly larger, more of a rectangle shape, which also gives room for more illustrations. The size that you do choose will really depend on your story and your illustration style. Square shape is very safe and very widely used for children's picture books. Personally, I feel like fiction stories are suitable for the square shape of book, and then for non-fiction books, people will generally go for the 8.5 by 11 rectangle shape. We've got page spreads versus single pages. You need to decide whether your illustrations will span across 2 pages, which is commonly called a spread, or stay on 1 page at a time. Many picture books use spreads for dramatic scenes and then single pages for the quieter moments in the story. Which tools are best for formatting? We've got Adobe InDesign or Affinity Publisher. These are professional publishing tools and they are ideal if you want total control and if you already know how to use one of these programs. I personally wouldn't go out buying them and then spending months and months trying to learn how to use them just to create a children's picture book. Then we've got Canva. It's user-friendly. You can use it for free if you don't want to use any of the elements that come with Canva. Even if you want to use the pro version, it's very affordable and it's great for beginners. It is totally fine to use Canva to create the pages of your book. You can import any images that you have purchased to use in your book and lay them out on each page. I used Canva for the layout of my own children's picture book. Now there's also PowerPoint or Keynote, which is surprisingly effective for simple layouts, as long as you make sure to export the file at the right resolution. So ideally just use whatever tool or software you have access to and you know how to use best. Don't let not knowing how to use a specific tool or not having the budget to buy a specific tool like Adobe InDesign stop you from getting your book done. Alternatively, you can also hire a formatter on Fiverr if you don't want to have anything to do with formatting your book and you want it done professionally. Some common formatting and layout mistakes to watch out for are things like blurry images. If they look blurry, find new illustrations. White edges where images don't bleed correctly. Make sure all your illustrations go over the edge of the page so that when it's printed, it doesn't have a white border. Text too close to the gutter, which is the inside edge of the page, which goes into the spine. Your text will just get lost in the spine of the book if you put it too close, and then it's just too hard to read. And one last mistake I see all too often is covers that are sized incorrectly for the spine width. Take your time here. A poorly formatted book looks amateur and will get bad reviews, no matter how good the story is. Let's move on to step 4, designing the cover. A cover sells books. There's no other way to say that. And it's true for every genre, every niche of book, but it is especially true for children's picture books. Parents are scrolling through Amazon and they instantly judge whether a book looks fun, professional, suitable for their child, and worth buying. So what does make a great cover? Bright, bold colors. Dull or muted covers just disappear in the sea of thumbnails. Expressive characters. Put your character, your main character, front and center, showing emotion. Readable fonts. Big, clear title text that pops even on a small screen. Simplicity. Do not clutter the cover with too much detail. Have a look at these 2 examples. Now, at the moment, in this example, we are looking at this on the screen of my laptop, but you also have to remember a lot of people shop on their mobile phones on screens that are a whole lot smaller. So these thumbnails will look even smaller on a phone. The first example here is Grumpy Monkey. Clearly you can see how that cover just pops off the page. It's got the bright red primary color. The title is so big and bold, there's no mistaking what the book is called. The character matches the title of the book, and it's interesting because kids can be grumpy and parents might want to get a book that's funny that helps their child relate to being grumpy like the Grumpy Monkey. And then on the opposite side of the coin, we have these children's picture book covers. We've got The Quest for the Rainbow Butterfly, and this one, I think it says Sandy's Favorite Stringed Instruments. Now, again, if someone was looking at this on a small phone screen, that text would not be readable. It doesn't stand out. There's too much going on the covers And you can clearly see the difference between that highly professional, genre-appropriate cover of the Grumpy Monkey compared to these ones. Even if the cover looks good, when it's blown up big on your computer screen when you're designing it, you have to remember that customers are looking at these tiny thumbnails in amongst hundreds of other books on the search results page. So analyze successful covers. Look at the bestsellers in your niche. Notice how many of them use one central character on the cover. How many of them have a big title and a clean background. Mimic the feel of that without copying. And what are tools and options for creating covers? If you're comfortable doing so, you can design the cover yourself in Canva, Photoshop, or InDesign. But for most people, and I highly recommend this because of the importance of the cover, it is worth hiring a designer, particularly one who specializes in children's picture book covers. A $200 to $500 investment can make a huge difference in sales. And you can even get pretty affordable covers made on Fiverr. And you need to get your cover file set up for KDP specifically. When you're uploading your book to Amazon, KDP requires a print-ready PDF file for your cover, and that one file needs to include the front cover, the spine, and the back cover in one file. They do provide templates for each trim size, so use them so that your cover fits perfectly. You can now move on to step 5, publishing on Amazon. Now comes the exciting part, actually publishing your book on Amazon. Log into your KDP account and create a paperback. Enter your book details like the title, the subtitle, the series if you have one. Add your author name, and if you have any contributors such as the illustrator or the editor if you want. Write your book description. You need to make it engaging and parent focused, since they are the ones that will be shopping for the books. Choose your keywords, and when you do, think like a customer. So instead of just something like children's book, go specific. For example, something like bedtime story ages 4 to 6 or funny dinosaur book for kids. Using the search bar on Amazon will really help you out with this. Pick your categories. You can choose 2, but then request more via KDP support later. You then need to upload your interior file and your cover file. Preview everything in the online previewer to make sure formatting looks right. If there is any issues with the formatting of your book, you will find out at this stage. You won't be able to continue uploading the book, and you can go off and fix any issues before coming back and uploading it. Set your pricing. Typically, children's picture books fall between $9.99 and $12.99, sometimes even higher. Really do the research in your niche. Remember, cheaper isn't always better, and color printing costs are a lot higher than black or white, so make sure that you have enough margin for a profit. You'll need to enter your ISBN. Amazon KDP does give you a free ISBN if you don't want to buy your own, but if you do want to publish outside of Amazon or retain full, complete publishing control, consider buying your own ISBNs. Once everything looks good, click publish. Your book will usually go live in around 24 to 72 hours, and you are now a self-published children's book author. And now it's time for step 6, marketing and promotion. Publishing your book is sadly only half the battle. Marketing is what gets your book into readers' hands, into customers' hands. Here are some of the choices you have for marketing your book. You've got Amazon ads. Sponsored products are the most effective and fast working because they do get placed right at the top of the search results. The first line of search results are always sponsored products, which are books that have paid for ads. Start with automatic campaigns to see what keywords Amazon chooses, then move on to manual targeting with specific keyword phrases. Even a small budget of $5 to $10 a day can help you get initial traction. Build your author brand. Create an author central page, add your bio, add a photo if you want to, and links to your website if you have one, which you should. Use A+ content to add visuals and comparison charts to your book listing. As a self-published author, Amazon really limits how many images it will display for your book listing. So A+ content is a place where you can add additional images and content about your book to help let the customer know what your book is about and why it is perfect for them. Get on social media. Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest are fantastic for children's picture books because these platforms are all visual. Post illustrations or short read alouds or behind the scenes content around your self-publishing journey. Parents love seeing the process. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You can just show your books. Start building an email list ASAP. Offer something like a free downloadable activity sheet or even a coloring page related to your book, to the story or the characters within your book in exchange for email signups. Then you can use that email list to promote new releases in the future. If you want to take it one step further, there is outreach. So contacting schools and libraries. Many will carry indie books if they fit the school's curriculum themes. Reach out to parenting bloggers or influencers for reviews. Consider donating a few copies to local bookstores or community centers to get word of mouth going, and build reviews. Always encourage early readers to leave reviews. Don't pay for fake reviews. It never works. Amazon will catch them, and it is not worth getting your account terminated over. Instead, build a launch team of beta readers who can review your book ethically when the book is available and when it's first published, and then continue to encourage reviews ongoing by maybe popping something at the beginning of your book or at the end of your book, asking customers if they would like to go and leave a review. Now, I do just want to go over some common mistakes to avoid. We always talk about the things that you should be doing, but what you shouldn't be doing is equally important. So let's go over some pitfalls I see all the time with children's picture books. Weak illustrations. I mentioned this earlier in this video, but if the art or the illustrations look amateur, the book won't sell no matter how good the story is. The wrong trim size, picking an odd size that doesn't fit the genre makes your book look unprofessional. Pricing too low. Remember, color printing is expensive. Don't undercut yourself. Parents will happily pay $10 to $12, sometimes even more, for a good picture book. Too much text. Kids lose interest fast. Keep it short and let the illustrations carry the weight. And no marketing plan. Uploading and hoping for sales just does not work in this niche, or on Amazon in general. And lastly, let's talk about creating a long-term strategy, because if you want to turn this into a real business, you need to think beyond one book. So start thinking about building a series. If your first book features a character that kids love, create more adventures with that character. Series always sell better because parents who buy one are likely to buy them all. Pig the Pug, for example, is a hugely popular book series featuring Pig and his friend Trevor. Kids love these characters. Expand your product line. Create activity books or coloring book versions based on your characters. Create hardcover versions for gifts. Even think about moving into box sets or bundles. Create merch or plushie toys based off of the characters in the book. These types of things are obviously for once you have built your books and your brand into something big enough where you do have a budget to have custom products like this made, but the sky really is the limit to how big you want to go with this. Go international. Translate your books into Spanish, French, or German. These are all really popular Amazon marketplaces. And picture books with universal themes do well in multiple markets. Brand yourself. Don't be just a self-published author, be a brand. Think like Mo Willems or Julia Donaldson. Over time, your name itself becomes the selling point. So that is the full process of self-publishing a children's picture book on Amazon, from writing your manuscript, planning illustrations, formatting and designing the interior layout, creating a cover, uploading it to KDP, and finally marketing it so that parents can find it. Yes, it is more work than publishing a journal or a puzzle book, but the rewards are bigger too. Children's picture books have staying power. They get read, they get loved, they get passed down. And if you take the time to do it right, your book can sit alongside classics on a family's bookshelf. If this is something that you have been dreaming about, start today. Write your first draft. Get that ChatGPT super prompt and start generating ideas. Sketch out your characters. Browse the market. Every great children's picture book started with one idea and someone who believed it was worth creating. Now it's your turn. If you did enjoy this video, YouTube thinks that you might like these ones too, so please go check them out to learn more about self-publishing your own children's picture books on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.